Hey, good morning, Facebook, and I want to show you every kettlebell exercise ever. Maybe, or at least most of the kettlebell exercises very quickly. So here's the idea for our live today, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what you're having in the comments to drink. There seems to be a lot of questions about not only the basic kettlebell techniques, but a lot of other kettlebell techniques as well. Like, what is the halo? What is the around the body pass? What is the windmill? So what I wanted to do is go through every exercise that we can think of. I have some helpers today. And just a quick reference, just a really quick go-to reference guide of here's what it should look like, and then I will give like 2 or 3 little key points for every exercise. So hopefully, my hope, welcome everybody, thank you for joining me. Let me know what you're having to drink in the comments. I don't have a beverage right now. My hope for this video is you can save it and you will be able to use this as a reference guide. Ongoing. We're not going to be able to break every exercise down into its teeniest little pieces because that would take forever. Instead, we just want to give you a quick overview of each exercise. Here's what it should look like. This is your reference guide. Peggy, hello. Charlotte, hello. And here are some key points to keep in mind for doing this. So I'm done talking. We got a lot of exercises I'm sure we're going to go through. So let's introduce our helpers. Some of them you should be familiar with. What's up, Joss? And we'll get right to it. So, without further ado, we have the mighty Alex Salkin joining us today, one of our strong on coaches. Alex, what is up?
How you doing?
You're going to be seeing a lot of Alex and Alyssa also. So, let's just get right into it. We'll start with some of the lighter mobility moves, and then we'll just move into the fundamentals. So, why don't we start with the Kettlebell Halo? You cool with that weight?
Let's do it.
Of course he is. So kettlebell halo, so Alex is just going to do reps I'm going to explain. Kettlebell moves around your head, elbows point up, biceps come very close to the ears. The key here is kettlebell moves around the head does not move around the kettlebell. Great for shoulder mobility, stability, T-spine, all that. Great, thank you Alex. Around the body pass. Let's go to Alyssa. So around the body pass, feet are narrow, you could even put them together. Kettlebell is being passed around your body, better if elbows are locked. And you want to get momentum with this. Really good for just waking everything up. Nothing that you can really kind of mess up on this movement. You can do it with slightly bent elbows, locked elbows, doesn't matter. It's just a really good kind of core stability warm-up. So you want the kettlebell pulling you, but you want to resist against that pull. Hello, Peggy, having coffee with heavy cream. Fantastic. Kaz, what's going on? How are you? Keep letting me know what you're drinking in the comments. Alex, windmill. This is a big one. People are always confused about the windmill. Notice the setup already. So the feet angle out at a 45, and then the key to a good windmill is this. It is hip flexion, pushing back into the hips, and thoracic rotation, so rotation at the T-spine. What it is not is a side bend. It's not a side bend. That's maybe, yeah, it's not that, right? It's that. Notice back is flat. Let's see a few more reps. So a few more key points about the windmill. You can do it how Alex did with the kettlebell below. That's a beginner version. A little bit more advanced, overhead. Most of the weight is on the back foot. Look at his weight distribution. Going to the back foot predominantly. Hip flexion, thoracic rotation, eyes up on the bell. Folks, if you have any movement requests, let us see. Turkish get up. All right, so we broke down the Turkish get up in depth in another video. We'll just highlight the key points here. Number 1, make sure your area is clear. Move all hazards out of the way. Alyssa gets an F. Set up from the fetal position. Rolling over, starting 45-degree angles. Remember, if you're doing the kettlebell on the get up on the right, everything on the right is up. We start with a strong post. We go to a sweep, knee is in line with the hand, into the hips, to a lunge. Foot rotates to standing. We reverse all the movements. Key point, watch that back leg. It pivots before the hand comes down. Leg comes back through to the butt, to the forearm, shoulder, shoulder. Excellent. Very good. Alex, goblet squat. And we're going to work some variations here in goblet squat. Very easy. Kettlebell is held in front of the chest. Butt sinks between the legs. So you're pulling your butt between your legs. Heels on the ground. Knees in line with the toes. Back flat. And elbows come inside the knees. All right, let's show some goblet squat variations if you're up for it, Alex. Let's show goblet squat with curl at the bottom. Good mobility variation here. Good way to posture up in the squat. Also get a bicep pump because why not? Because why not? All right, let's show heartbeat squat. Can you do it with that one? It's a pretty heavy bell for heartbeat squat. There we go. Really good core stability exercise here. Good way to just wake up just everything, really. And if with a lighter bell, you can even extend the bell fully at the bottom. That's quite a good amount of weight, but you get the idea from that. All right, time for the swing. The classic kettlebell exercise, folks, the swing. Starting with a good hip hinge, hips are back. Start with a strong hike. And key points of the swing. Now the hips go back rather than down. So in the squat that you just saw, the hips went down. Now the hips are going back. Heels on the ground. Projection of force is out. We are standing tall and tight at the top. This is an explosive movement. We're trying to get the kettlebell to float. We are not doing any type of shoulder raise, bicep curl, any of that. This is pure hip drive. Alex, one arm swing. So, same setup as the swing. The only difference now is we just hold the kettlebell with one appendage rather than two, but the key points are hips still go back, shoulders remain square. So we want to resist rotation as much as possible. Alex, switch sides if we can. Good, so really it should look pretty much the same as a two-hand swing. The key here is to minimize rotation as far as possible. Jessica, how are you? Gan, how are you? Chelsea, how are you on the train? What is up, everybody? Clean. Folks, we're going through every kettlebell exercise we can possibly think of, just short snippets. So clean starts with a one-arm swing, introduces a redirection of force. So we are zipping the kettlebell up the center line, the elbow stays quiet, close to the side, and the kettlebell lands in the rack position. So the key here is it starts as a swing, and then we zip up the coat, right? We're zipping the kettlebell up the center line. Alex, let's show the clean, but let's emphasize the rack hold or the rack position. So this is really two extra. So clean it up, and then let's talk about the rack. So rack hold. Key to the rack hold here is kettlebell deep in the base of the palm, forearm is vertical and against the rib cage. So this alone is a great exercise, but from here, let's demonstrate the military press. Fist closes, glutes are tight, abs are tight, kettlebell presses overhead into a full lockout. Bicep is next to or slightly behind the ear. Notice the space between the shoulder and the ear. This ear right here, this cute little ear, is poison to this really well-developed shoulder.
Oh, thank you.
All right, keep it going. A few reps here. Good. Excellent. That's the kettlebell military press. Kettlebell snatch. All right, so again, same setup as the swing, but the key is the kettlebell is now going to land overhead. So we have redirection of the force. Swing teaches us force production, force reduction. Swing and snatch teach us force redirection. So elbow stays quiet, we're drawing the bell up the center line. The key is to tame the arc. Don't let the kettlebell get too far away from you. Very good, smooth, etc. You guys are gonna have to, folks in the audience here, help me out. What are some exercises you want to see that we haven't done yet? Alex, push press. My mind is gonna start blanking here after a while. So push press now is an explosive, predominantly lower body exercise. So we're loading the spring in the legs. Knees will come forward. We actually want this in the push press. Quad dominant, explosive to help get the bell overhead. So this is a power exercise. Really good. And look at the finish. Same finish as the military press. Bicep is next to or slightly behind the ear, but the path may be different. So in the push press, the bell is more likely to travel in a straight line rather than an arc. Bend over row. A couple ways you can take this. Alyssa can decide how she wants to start, but a good row should begin in a hinge, back is flat, hips are back, and the elbows not only draw up, but they're also drawing back. So you want your elbows to come towards your hips in a good row, squeezing the shoulder blades together at the top. Alex, you good with jerks, my man?
Oh, yeah.
All right, kettlebell jerk. This one's been requested for a while. So the jerk is like a push press, except for we now sneak underneath the bell. So as the bell comes up, we slink. We slink underneath, right? So we have this second dip, where as the bell's going up, Alex is going to shoot his hips down and back to shorten the distance. That's really what we're doing. We're shortening the distance the bell has to travel by getting under the kettlebell. So there's two distinct movements here, and we're catching the kettlebell in this semi-squat position. Good. All right, Kaz wants to see the arm bar. All right, so one of you needs to demonstrate, one of you needs to spot. I always recommend having a spotter with the arm bar. Alyssa will spot Alex. So we're setting up with the get up. Kettlebell gets pushed up over the face. Watch what Alyssa does. She's always just going to have a hand there just for safety. Alex is going to cross his hips over, bringing the knee up to the chest, Good amount of, let's try and get some external rotation here. So he's trying to turn his palm towards his face. Now watch this back arm. The bicep is creeping back. Really, what is the key here? Trying to work that thoracic extension and rotation. Really great exercise for shoulder mobility and stability. And careful, always do this very light and with a spotter if possible. Good. Great exercise, a little bit technical. Make sure you watch a deeper tutorial on that. Many ways to do it wrong, but it's just a reference right now. Let's go for lunge and single leg deadlift. Lunge, Alyssa, and then Alex for single leg deadlift. Somebody wants tactical, Peggy wants tactical lunge. We'll come back to tactical lunge. I think that's kind of a weird exercise, but it's worth showing. Good, so for the lunge, there's, again, many ways you can do it. Typically, you're gonna keep the load over your front leg, and this would be a reverse lunge, so we're stepping back, and we want the shin to be pretty much vertical on that front leg in the bottom position, torso vertical, right? You could also do this with the kettlebell in the farmer carry position, if you just wanna demo a few reps. Maybe a little bit more accessible starting out. And then of course you can do overhead variations as well. We don't need to show that quite yet. All right, single leg deadlift. All right, so Alex has great mobility. I actually typically like to start people with the single leg deadlift at the top because not a lot of people can get the kettlebell all the way down to the ground with good form. Alex can, so that's up to you. Here, notice the kettlebell now is being held in the opposite arm of the working leg. So if right leg is on the ground, kettlebell is in the arm, hips go back. This is a hinging dominated movement. Knee bend can vary. I don't recommend doing it with completely locked knees, but look at back is flat, heel is pushing back towards the wall behind Alex. Very, very good. Renegade row. Who's got the bell set up for Renegade row? You got the Renegade row? Great core exercise, great stability exercise, one of my favorites. Full push-up. This is harder with skinnier belts. For obvious reasons, less of a base of support. So full push-up. Now here's the key. When you lock out the push-up, you need to drive all your weight down into the center of one kettlebell and then pull the other kettlebell up in a plank row. You will want to stagger your stance. The key here is Alyssa is driving her weight straight down into the kettlebell at the base of the support. If it deviates to any side, you will fall over. So the smaller bells are actually more challenging from a balance perspective because you have less room or less margin for error. But great, great exercise. Stagger your feet as much as you need to make sure you have that base of support as you perform the Renegade row. Alex, you know figure eights?
No.
These are a weird one. It's kind of like passes in your leg. Raymond, we'll come back to that. I might have to demonstrate that one. What else are we forgetting? Let's keep.
Clean and press?
Yeah, clean and press thrust. Let's do long push press. So a little bit different than a thruster. A long push press is a bit more of a controlled squat to press. So deep squat, good control, and then using just a bit of momentum to get the kettlebell overhead. And the reason we typically recommend the long push press is when people do thrusters, they get really sloppy with it. They bounce in and out of the squat. They're just banging off their passive structures, and over time, it's really not all that great of a way to execute this movement. So we like to differentiate a little bit. We do the long push press, deep squat to overhead. Let's do clean and press. So combining two exercises, or I guess double clean and press. So fundamentals are still the same with the clean. We go into a press. Notice, one is an explosion, one is a grind. So we clean the kettlebells, we pause, eliminate momentum, grind, press the kettlebells overhead. Eliminate momentum, press the kettlebells overhead. Excellent. Alex, you good for some doubles now? Let's do front squat. Kettlebell front squat. Notice how everything builds off the foundation. Once you have the swing, you have the elements of the clean. Once you have the rack hold, you have the starting for the press and the front squat. So it starts with a double rack. Let's just explain this. Same thing as a single rack. Kettlebells are deep in the base of the palm. Forearms are vertical against the rib cage. And now it should just resemble a squat, like the goblet squat. So hips are pulled between the legs, heels on the ground, knees in line with the toes. They will come forward. That is normal. That's inevitable for most people. Back is flat. Look at that. Great posture in the bottom position. That's front squat. Folks, keep it coming. We are trying to go through every kettlebell that we can possibly think of. And this is it. There's going to be no need to ever do a kettlebell tutorial again in all the world because you will have this video.
It's the last one.
Double swings. This is the last one. This is the last kettlebell video ever. And you will be set. All right, double swing. Same setup as single swing, but wider stance, right? We want to go just as wide as we need to accommodate both of the bells. But other than that, fundamentals are the same. Hips back, back flat, strong hip drive. So it's just an explosion into a standing plank. That's your double swing. My man, you good for double snatch?
Do it.
The elusive double snatch featured in, of course, the Great Destroyer workout. Again, nothing overly different or technical about this that you don't see in the single snatch. You just need more power, more control. The difference here is the double snatch, we like to come back to the rack before reloading. The reason being is with 2 kettlebells, we don't want to necessarily throw down from the top. There's just too much risk of hitting the knees or something weird happening with your back. So the key there is all the same elements of the single snatch, control the arc, explode, overhead, full lockout, but bring to the rack before you come back to the double snatch. Folks, give us some requests. What other exercises do you want to see? You got to let us know, or else we're gonna call it. But we got to get every exercise we can think of. What do we think? Oh, I have to go in bottoms up press. So the bottoms up press is a good way to find your pressing groove. So you're going to start by catching the kettlebell upside down in the clean position, right? So look, you can't really fudge this. You have to have a good rack position, meaning your forearm has to be vertical to do a bottoms up press. And from here, you're going to stay tight, press the kettlebell overhead. And again, this is a good drill because look at, it's forcing her to stabilize in so many interesting ways. And it forces her to follow a specific groove to keep the forearm vertical. That is the bottoms up press. Alex, you see those biceps again with the crush curl, my friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
just for the crush.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. Crush curl. There we go. So a couple ways you can do crush curl. You can crush the handle, you can crush the kettlebell, but the idea is you are applying inward pressure to the kettlebell as you curl it. So you should not only feel it in the pecs, the biceps, so you should feel it in the pecs as well, this inward pressure on the kettlebell as you are curling. That reminds me, crush push-up.
Can I grab a bigger bell?
Yeah, so she's gonna grab it. So for the crush push-up, same thing. This is like somewhat of a diamond push-up variation, but we're more crushing inward on the push-up. And the more you grab the sides of the bell, the more difficult this becomes. And the idea is as you perform a push-up, you're just trying to compress the kettlebell. Seth, we did do the windmill much earlier on, but thank you for the request. Alyssa is major focus. Yes, she is. Anna, she definitely is. All right, Alex, let's do Sots press. And then this will go into overhead squat. So we have 2 things here. Sots press is a great demonstration of strength and mobility. So let's just do single arm Sots. Single arm. Don't need to do double yet. Single arm is a good standard for Sots press. So deep squat, and you're pressing out of the squat. So you need to have really good stability and mobility to make this happen. And obviously he does. Look at that fantastic posture. Now let's show overhead squat. So the overhead squat is just squatting with the kettlebell overhead. What are the keys here? Bicep stays next to the ear, shoulder is packed, and all the other elements of the squat are in place. So the overhead squat is really a good demonstration of mobility and stability. A lot of people should not be doing overhead squats because they don't have the requisite stability and mobility for that, and that's why you see so many injuries with that exercise. So make sure that you're sufficiently prepared for that. All right, what else do we have? What have we forgotten so far? Deck squats. Which of you remember the deck squat? Alex remembers the deck squat. Deck squat is a full roll into the squat. So this is a really good, when sometimes people have issues with burpees, a deck squat is a good variation. It's a good way to it's a good vestibular exercise, great mobility. You can do it at a tempo, you can do it at a higher intensity. Really nice exercise. You don't see it that often, but it's great. Thruster. Well, we did the long push press. So that we erased the thruster, we did the long push press. So we have that one already. What are we missing? We've pretty much written the encyclopedia here. Is there anything?
It's a bench press.
Oh, freaking do the bench press. Everyone asks for the bench press. I will disclaim that the bench press is so marginally useful that most of the time you won't see it, but all right, let's show the bench press.
Also, there are a lot of people who are a lot better at the bench press than me, so don't use my technique as the end all be all.
You're not Eugene Sandow, but that's fine.
Correct, not yet.
All right, so the key with the bench press is it starts with the windmill. If you have the windmill pattern down, you'll be decent for the bench press because it's essentially a press off of your lat into this deep, hinged, and rotated position. Now, some people may have different finishes with the bench press. So some people may finish more in a squat, Other people may finish more in a windmill. There's many variations for it. Alex has great mobility here. But what are we really doing with the bench press? Fundamentally, this is an important element to understand. You are not so much pressing the kettlebell up as you are pressing yourself away from the kettlebell into the ground. So the idea here, the bench press, is you have a weight that is so heavy you can't actually move it. So you're really just maneuvering yourself under the weight. All right, last 5 seconds if we have any other requests. Otherwise, we're going to do the wrap up. If you two can't think of anything, if I can't think of anything,
I think that's it.
I think that's every kettlebell exercise in a man. Let's bring it in, team.
Let's bring it in. Shoo! That was a lot of work watching them do all that. Alex, come have a seat, my friend. Good. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of Alex because he is now officially in PA. We brought him over back from Israel. Stacked kettlebell press, floor press with bridge. Did you do that? We didn't do the floor press. Should we
Why don't
go?
we go back and do it, yeah?
We'll go do one more. This is it. Last exercise because then we'll have written the encyclopedia. Floor press.
All right, let's do it, with and without bridge, just for quick reference. So floor press is a nice little horizontal pressing variation with kettlebells. You're going to set up similar as you would with a Turkish get-up, from the fetal, always rolling in, and then from here, you can do single or double, doesn't really matter. Depends what you're doing. So you're just going to press up right over your sternum. Notice at the bottom, here's the key for the floor press. Forearms are vertical. His fists are pretty much in line with his sternum. Now Alex, from the bridge may open up, is going to open up a different angle for the press. Now it's more like a decline bench press, if you remember that. Yay, Alex, welcome back. Good glute extension, hip extension. Flash of the old devil horns there. And that is it. Thank you, my good sir. All right, now we're
doing the wrap up. Folks, what a celebration this one was. Hold on, scooch back in here, Alex. So we're going to be saving this video. We'll probably edit it and put it on the Strong On. Let's get the whole team in here. We'll put it on the. We'll put it in the Strong On Facebook group. So if you're not a member of that, join that group. It's up here or down there somewhere because we'll put it in there, and someone, not me, will go through the video and mark where every exercise is. So that way you can quickly reference it. Of course, you can save this video as well until we edit it. Sam's creeping around out there. We'll find him later. Maybe we'll do another live. So, hey, hopefully this video was useful. If there's any other exercises that aren't here, can't imagine there would be. I think we pretty much hit them all. Comment below because we'll do a part 2. So in the meantime, if this has been helpful to you, likes, shares, always appreciated. Please pass this along. We want to kind of really make sure that people understand how to do these exercises, how to do them, not only safely, but effectively. And these things are not at odds, are they? No.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, so when you're doing something safely, chances are you're also doing it most effectively and efficiently as well. So that's why good form really matters. So thank you, folks, and we will see you on the next episode live talking.
See ya.
How it goes.
Bye.